personally destroyed, like emotionally destroyed, and you punch someone with it, it turns them into just guts. Well, I don't really care, actually. I don't pay attention to it.
Come da poca picchita va bene, se tu la parla miezza americano, quando si fa l'amore sotto la luna, come da bene in capo di I love you, papà l'americano.
Does the media desensitize us towards violence? Desensitization refers to the elimination of natural reaction and sensitivity on an external event or issue. It's what we see, hear, read, and are exposed to from TV, newspapers, internet, video games, magazines, etc., changing our response towards violence-related issues because we see it so often. If so, how does that impact us and the society that we live in?
The pain that comes today.
Do you think the media has desensitized us towards violence?
We're exposed to things that we wouldn't normally have experiences in our daily lives. Through the media, there seems to be an increase in violence that we're being exposed to. Changes the way we would normally be affected to those sorts of events if they actually did occur in our real lives. I certainly think that what we see in the television shows makes us feel it's the norm.
Have you done any research into this yourself?
I did a course, basically shut down all media in our lives for 3 months. But after that time, I can remember we hired a video that was really famous, and it was about the Vietnam War, and just the opening scenes so distressed me. I would not have responded in that way earlier on. My whole level of sensitivity went back to a much more innocent level of sensitivity.
To test this theory, I decided to go without media for 3 weeks to see what effect it had on me.
Believe in the breeze.
So it's been week 1 after the resensitizing program, and how I feel at the moment is pretty well the same as before, but I think that will change after this program. After being surrounded by it all my life and just 1 week without it, it hasn't really affected me at all. Watching that video, it did move me, but not as much as I think it could have. That is something that is chosen to make me feel really upset or moved or affected, and it hasn't as much. That is a real wake-up call, that this is really real. Barbara from Children's Media Today states that due to Hollywood overemphasis of violence on a regular basis, we are so desensitized it is no longer wrong to kill others. She also states that we have come to terms with violence as an acceptable way to settle conflicts, and we desire to watch more. Serendip, an educational website founded from Bryan Moore College, shared an account of media desensitization. On April 20, 1999, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold launched an assault on Columbine High School in Littleton, Colorado, murdering 13 and wounding 23 before turning the guns on themselves. Although nothing is for certain as to why these boys did what they did, we do know that Harris and Klebold both enjoyed playing the bloody shoot-'em-up video game Doom, a game licensed by the US military to train soldiers to effectively kill. Researcher Honza Kopra disagrees that media causes violence after desensitization by claiming that studies suggest that watching TV violence may temporarily induce object aggression, but not actual criminal violence against another person. So it's week 2 of the experiment. This week I've struggled a little bit because just going through and watching these videos, it just makes me sick because there are just that many of them that are just posted in the wrong way. There is no respect in them, no compassion. They're just put on YouTube just so they can get a lot of likes or views or whatever, but it is just done so bad, and it just makes me think that our society almost praises violence. Like, they thrive on it. There is that many videos on there for no reason. Like, why would we post something like this? And our society has just taken such a step down, and not only do people not care anymore, want to see this, they live off it, and it's just so, it's horrible, it's so bad, and I never realised
We
this.
have poison in our pocket. We have hatred in our heart.
For me as a kid, I didn't really think there was anything wrong with violence because I haven't experienced a world like Australia. I didn't know people could live safely. I didn't know people could walk on the streets at night and nothing would happen to them. Living in fear every day. The violence between the mother and the father, you're going to grow up thinking that it's okay for a guy to treat a girl like that. The media plays a role in it because it opens our minds, like especially kids, to violence. Like, you're able to get access to any sites. It's been going, like the violence has been going on for so long that people here don't really care about it anymore. It's kind of like poverty as well. People also just decide to shut it out. Like, I kind of feel bad if like you focus it all the time.
Like people's kind of way of coping with a violent situation, they just shut it out and desensitize towards it.
Yeah.
Because they're so used to having it around them in everyday life.
Yeah, definitely. And I think that it will also make them feel good about themselves if they pretend that they don't know what's going on.
How often in a week do you expose yourself to the media through the use of various sources?
Rarely.
Sometimes.
Very frequently.
Sometimes.
Do you watch, read and listen to violent related subjects?
No.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
No.
Do you ever get overwhelmed and affected by news reports of violence related incidents?
Sometimes.
Yes.
Sometimes.
Sometimes.
Do you mentally block out the violence around you or feel accustomed to it? How?
As I'm not exposed to a lot of violence around me, I don't feel the need to block it out.
I choose not to expose myself to violence.
I tend to disassociate myself with it.
No.
We have a knife in our
Do you feel emotionally affected by this video clip?
A bit.
A bit.
No.
No.
So it's week 3 of the resensitizing program. It has affected me this week. I feel it in there now when I watch those video clips. Like before, you know, it just kind of passed over me. But this week I was watching those clips and I was just like, how can that even happen in our world? Like, it's just so sad because I know that when I start going and watching media again, I'll be desensitized towards it. So used to it that I can't see it right there in front of me. Kind of bittersweet. I'm glad that seeing things clearer now, but yeah, it's sad to think that it's such a possibility to go back the way I was before. I really think that this has really proven my theory because I've seen it firsthand.
you fill my head with you.
In summary of this documentary, in Mrs. Keogh's interview, she feels that there is an increase of violence in media since she is younger. She also feels that what we see in the media makes us feel it's the normal life. And through her resensitizing program, that really affected her and made her realise that the media plays a really big role in desensitizing us as a nation. In my resensitizing program, week 1 I wasn't really affected that much. In week 2 I struggled a lot with how disrespectful some people were towards violent related issues and how they posted things on the internet which were unnecessary and quite offensive. And in week 3 I really felt like compassion was really losing in our society, and I was actually really taken aback at how easy it is to become just desensitized and hard towards these issues. It did affect me in the end, and it really did prove to me that the media really does desensitize us. In the literature reviews, we read that writers think that Hollywood overemphasizes violence and makes us feel like it's normal and makes us feel like it's not as big a deal. We also learned that studies show that we learn to settle conflicts with violence. Violent media has seemed to be a cause of violent acts, such as the Eric and Dylan crime. Honza Kepra disagrees, saying that media only projects object aggression and not actual violence. However, there is no proof in this statement. In Zanelle's case study, she said that the level of violence in your community can also contribute to the desensitization. She also says that the media does play a big role in it because it lets our minds expand on the violence that we are seeing and makes us feel like it's not all that bad. Lastly, in the survey, we saw that the more the person was exposed to violence or the more they tried to block it out, the less affected they were to the video clip and the violence that they saw in that. In conclusion, with all this evidence, I have come to the conclusion that the media really does desensitize us towards violence. There is so much proof through personal discoveries, through my own discoveries, and through what's on the internet and all the tests that have been done. It really does desensitize us, and it's more of a problem than we know. Thank you for watching this documentary. I hope you learnt a lot out of it.
I don't take my time killing all the enemies. I just rush through, get to my objective, kill anyone that's in my way, and that's it.